we're here today. We were set for our final today, but I think all parties have agreed that we're really not prepared to move forward with this in a final, and the court's already indicated that I'll grant the extension in the case. I'm well aware of the facts and our kind of what is our current circumstance and everything in the case. So I can already make a finding that there are extraordinary circumstances which would warrant the extension of the case. So we'll set a new dismissal date. I don't know, Ms. Ruiz, if you all have calculated that. So Ms. Katie has put in the chat future hearing dates. So I think we'll have another review on this on April 24th at 9 on a 9 o'clock docket. And then final will be scheduled for July 24th, also on a 9 o'clock docket, if that works for everybody. Hopefully that's far enough out. That'll be workable. Okay, then. So today we just are going to have a review hearing. And just for the record, Ms. Molinax and Casa and I had a very nice visit with Rose recently, and she seems to be doing really well. I was just very, very pleased with how well she was doing, and seems very happy. And so, okay, then who is going to give us an update today? Ms. Herrera?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Herrera, if you want to just tell us what's new since the court report was filed, that'd be great.
Yes, Rose had a appointment with MetroCare on January 4th to determine if she is eligible for HCS services. After that appointment, she was determined ineligible, but as of this week, her guardian gave me the paperwork that an eye doctor says that she is eligible with a related condition, something with her left eye loss. And then when I looked at the paperwork, I don't know what exactly is wrong with the right eye because I couldn't read the handwriting on it. So I reached out to our developmental disability specialist to see if we can get another appointment with MetroCare with the new paperwork, just so we can do our due diligence if she is eligible and make sure that we're able to get her that qualification for it.
Okay, slow down a little. Remember, we've got a sign interpreter, so just slow your pen down a bit.
Yes, ma'am. Rose is doing well in placement. She has no incidents. She's doing well in school. She's doing well socially. It's just that right now she cannot return to her guardians, and we just don't have the HCS slot. And so we're just trying to, with the extension, figure out the most positive permanency for Rose.
All right. And we have any idea when we'll know with this new finding about her disability? Do we have any idea how long that may be before we know whether she's going to qualify?
We don't. I did see that the developmental disability specialist emailed MetroCare, which is the same organization she had her first appointment with. We just don't have a response yet.
Okay. All right. Anything else new?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a couple of matters we would like to see if we can discuss.
Oh, sure. I'm going to get to everybody. Okay, Ms. Seal.
Nothing additional to Ms. Herrera, Your Honor. It'd be my understanding that Ms. Walters would be in agreement with the extension.
All right. And Ms. Ferguson?
Your Honor, just a couple of things, and that is with regards to Ms. Walters' participation and visitation with Rose. I think some other folks have seen those visitations by Zoom, and it's very difficult and can be upsetting to Ms. Walters because through Zoom, it's just very difficult for them to interact. That's one reason why we're trying to get Rose moved closer so they can have that personal and continue that personal relationship. However, we don't think it's helpful to Rose or her mother at this point to continue the Zoom visitations. Those are disruptive to both of those parties, and I think several of us have seen that. And so we would ask that the weekly Zoom visits at least be suspended, and we continue to try to set up personal visits. Well, it may not be possible weekly, but it's just that the weekly ones are not achieving what we'd really like them to achieve.
Is it more the video component of the Zoom that is problematic?
That and the fact that there is communication issues, since Rose does not communicate, Ms. Walters has a tendency sometimes to be not engaged. It's just not easy to engage that way.
Well, I'm asking because I mean Rose certainly participated very, very well when Ms. Molinax and Casa and I spoke with her. I mean, she was, I would say an active participant in
but
that.
With Ms. Walter, between the two of them is what we are, I guess.
Yeah, I'm understanding. My question really is it because of having to have a sign interpreter involved? In other words, is there a different form of telecommunication that Ms. Walters uses? I mean, I know there are different avenues and different outlets for hearing impaired individuals, how they, I can't think of the name of some of those right now. I'm at a loss for words, but they use a telephone service,
I will ask my client to help me on this, but my memory is that in the years past, even before this case arose, Jenny has used those type engagements. But because we're not dealing with just a hearing disability with Ms. Walters, there's also an intellectual disability that it just makes it very difficult for them to understand and engage with each other. I think even maybe it was the CASA worker that has witnessed that sometimes Ms. Walters and Rose have more of a sibling relationship with a rivalry instead of a mother-child relationship.
And I mean, I don't have any problem if it seems to be counterproductive. I don't have any problem eliminating those. I'm just trying to think, is there a different platform that would work so that they would still have frequent contact?
Yeah.
Because, the distance at where she's placed, it makes the in-person, it's kind of problematic. I mean, it's difficult. But I'm just looking for suggestions, I guess.
And maybe her caseworker could help us out with that as well, because my understanding is, I was thinking it's CASA, but it was the caseworker, I believe, that has witnessed some of this as well. Is that correct?
I have not seen a visit since I've taken over the case. It might have been Summer. She was the previous caseworker.
Summer previous. Okay.
Yes.
And I don't know what platform, but like I say, it is very disruptive. In fact, we've even questioned at times Ms. Walters' participation in these hearings can be disruptive to her. Ms. Parr is her guardian, as well as, so she is wearing two hats in this, and the fact that she's Rose's conservator and Jenny's guardian. And so sometimes it's very disruptive to Jenny's situation to participate even in these hearings, because Zoom is very difficult for her to have interaction. She's somewhat isolated there. Even her sign is somewhat limited. And so it's not productive for Miss Walters as well. So we're wondering if with her attorney ad litem and with her guardian participating, if possibly we could even waive that.
I would never require her attendance other than at a final hearing, but I think that's really a call for her attorney and her guardian ad litem.
Okay, then we will have them discuss that and maybe get with Ms. Parr as well and see how to go forward with that. It's just, like I say, Ms. Parr's also trying to make sure that Ms. Walters stays mentally healthy and not disrupted as well.
Nobody wants that as an outcome. I do, the overriding focus though of this case is the best interest of Rose. But I'm certainly, would like for Miss Seal, to discuss that with her and Miss Sapien, and maybe they can come to an agreement about that. From the standpoint of the Court of Appeals, I probably would find that it's pretty important for her to be present at a final hearing. But even then, Miss Seal and Miss Sapien can, I think, discuss that among themselves and determine whether that's really even necessary. Yeah, my hopes is that by the time we get to, the final date in this, I find it hard to believe we're not going to have some agreement about where we're going to be moving forward. I think everybody, this is one of those strange cases where really everybody's interest is pretty aligned.
That's right. We're all moving in the same direction. And to that end, Judge, the only other thing I would ask is maybe that the attorneys in the matter, we might be able to set up a conference call at some point so that we can discuss the legal moving forward, so that as we move toward final disposition, that we can all make sure we're looking at the same vehicles.
Yeah, and it's Ms. Ferguson, I know you don't appear in my court on a regular basis, but it is a standing order of this court that parties mediate before any final hearing. And in this situation, you all may be able to just handle that through an informal settlement conference.
I'm betting we can.
You may not even need a mediator. Mm-hmm. If you do, I'm happy to assign, someone to do that. But, I think for now, things are on a good trajectory. Mm-hmm. So, but I want to make this as easy for Ms. Walters as well.
Right.
So I think
that's all we have.
I think they just need to discuss it.
Okay. Thank you.
And we're going to come back to the to the actual visitation here in a few minutes. But Ms. Sapien, I wanted to hear from you, and then also Ms. Mullinax and Casa.
I don't have much to add, Judge. Just after what Ms. Ferguson just said and the visitation issue, I would put out there that FaceTime or in-person visits are part of my client's service plan. And so if we change that, I would ask that service plan also be amended. I don't have anything else.
Okay, certainly. And that would certainly not be a problem. Okay, Ms. Mullinax.
Your Honor, as you stated, we talked to Rose. Ms. Ferguson requested that Rose be moved closer so that there could be maybe in-person visits. However, Rose specifically stated she did not want to be moved back to Amarillo because she didn't feel comfortable with her history there. She also really loves her placement and wants to stay in that placement. So at this point, I believe that her placement is safe and appropriate. I know there's been some discussion about maybe moving her to Advo or somewhere else. She has specifically said she does not want to go to Advo. She's talked about wanting to get a job. She's doing very well in that placement. I'm not sure what we need to do about the visits with mom, Jennifer, being that Rose doesn't want to be moved from there. But she is in a good place and she's doing very well at this time.
Okay. So we've had some in-person visitation. Ms. Herrera, is that correct?
Yes, during Thanksgiving and Christmas, she was able to come up here for about a week.
And reports were that went well.
Yes, ma'am.
So she will have a spring break, coming up here fairly soon. Have we had any discussion about her coming for spring break?
I have not talked to Ms. Parr about that yet.
Okay. I mean, she is in school and she's doing very, very well in school. Her grades are good. She's, I think she struggles some, but she's getting extra help. And I think sounds to me like she's working very hard in school. So if, we've got to work around school. So it certainly seems the next extended visit would make sense to be over spring break. Now, can we get a weekend visit? Maybe there's a school holiday, a Friday or a Monday school holiday somewhere between now and then. It seems like there's always something with the school calendar that they're having some long weekend or something. So, if there's something like that where we could bring Rose for a in-person visit.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think
can
the weekend,
check her placement and see what her school calendar looks like and see if there's any kind of extended weekend that we can try to get that situated with Miss Parr and Miss Walters.
I think that the February 15th weekend, whatever that is, I think that's President's Day weekend or something, and that may usually be a holiday for school.
Yeah. I know there's typically something in the month of February. So let's just look at our school calendar and see if we could take advantage of that. And then I think spring break is the next logical one.
Yes, ma'am.
Rose did express how happy she is in her current placement. And quite honestly, she engaged at a level that I personally felt like she would not qualify to even go to AdVote. I would say that Rose was engaged with us at a fairly high level. So I think she's doing very, very well where she's at. So at least at this point in time, I think it would be very risky to change that placement. Okay, Casa.
Good morning. Rose is doing great in her current placement. She's loving school. I would like to add that at her school, I spoke with her counselor, and they actually do have a career track at that school. And she is on the art career path. And so if that's something that Rose is interested in, I think that's a great school, great place for her to be, especially since she's loving it and thriving there. And if that's her further interest, they do have that program for her. She's doing great. We do hope that she continues her frequent med reviews, and she's thriving.
I think that's the word. I mean, that certainly would be a word I would use to describe how well she's doing. So, okay. Anybody have anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then. Well, like I said, we will extend our dismissal date in the case to August 24th of 2024. And we will have another review hearing on April 24th. And then our final will be set for July 24th. I will find that it's in the child's best interest to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and that her placement continue. I think, I'm not going to make a finding necessarily there's continuing danger to the child, because this is not that kind of case, but I will find that I think it could be very detrimental to Rose's health, emotional, mental well-being to move her at this time. So I think she's right where she needs to be for now. So the department's obviously using reasonable efforts, to keep the family together, and we'll keep on that path. And visits, let's look at what we've talked about. And, moving forward, maybe the in-person visits, we just going to have to work around school holidays and that kind of thing. In April, we'll talk about what summertime looks like. Okay. But we don't need to address it yet, but, I would like Ms. Molinax probably, before that hearing in April, I would like to have Casa and you and Rose. Let's have another Zoom to talk to Rose about, what she's thinking about summertime. What is her summer going to be looking like? What plans is she going to be having? That kind of thing. Okay. And until then, if the Zoom visits are counterproductive, then let's just, we'll just stop them. If there's any other method of communication that seems to work, I'm great with that. This is, like I said, this is a different situation. So We can explore what else there might be other than in person, but you know, it's kind of like having a kiddo at boarding school or off at college. You know, you get to see them on the major holidays. But if you know they're happy and they're doing well, then that's probably okay. All right. I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. And I'll see you back in April.
Judge,
you, Your Honor.
could I have a breakout room with Madam Interpreter, Jennifer, and Sage?
Absolutely. We are here today for a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under finding the good cause and agreement of the parties. And I do not have a court reporter today, so we are recording to the Zoom cloud. If anybody needs a copy of that, just let us know and we'll make it available.
Todd Alvey on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm present, ready to proceed, Your Honor. Shay Cairns is the St. Francis Ministries Permanency Specialist who will be giving us an update.
Sage Sill, attorney for Mother Tamara Sheffield, Your Honor. I have not had any contact with my client. The Zoom link was made available by email and text message. Email was returned, but I've had no response from the text messages. So I would announce not ready at this time.
Brooks Barfield for Jose Favela. A Zoom link has been sent. Since I'm on the road, I can't see necessarily if he's on, but I'm present and ready to proceed with a review hearing.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of Manuel Morales. My client is not present. He has also been provided the link, and I'm ready to proceed.
Stacey Grant on behalf of Martin Gomez, and I have had no contact with my client, Your Honor, and no information for an email to provide a link, but I am ready to the extent I can be for a review hearing.
Bethany Stevens for the unknown father of Maisie. I've had no contact with any potential fathers, but I'm here and ready.
Bill Taylor representing Lonnie Rodriguez, father of Kaylee. I believe he finally got served by publication or posting. I've had no contact with him, no information on his current whereabouts. So I'm present and ready.
Erin Molinax, attorney ad litem for the children, Your Honor, ready. I cannot see most of the people on here, but I believe Sierra is present. She wanted to participate in the hearing. The others did not express their interest in attending.
Okay. And Casa is present with us. What do we have new from St. Francis since the court report was filed?
I have reached out to Sierra's uncle to see about him taking her in. He is not able to at this time, but we're looking at revisiting her father, possibly if he could provide pay stubs and the language barrier, if we could address that. But the uncle is not able to at this time. So, and I have not spoken with mom or any of the fathers.
So does Mr. Morales, did we have some limited contact with him?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I mean, has he expressed an interest in having her come live with him?
Yes, Judge.
Does he understand that he needs to communicate with us about all of that? And
yes, I get the impression that he's gone through it before and he wasn't he didn't take the child. They said he wasn't approved. And this time when he had the home study, when it came back and it was denied, it was upsetting for him, especially because the reasons stated, one was a language barrier, but him and the child can communicate effectively. And then he also told me someone that did the home study told him he needed to find a woman. So he was upset by that. But in communicate effectively. And then he also told me someone that did the home study told him he needed to find a woman. So he was upset by that. But in regards to Ms. Carn's comment about his pay stubs, he does get paid in cash. And so I had directed him to sort of keep a log of what he is making. So I'm happy to check with him and see if he's done that. But I do know, Your Honor, that he would love to have his daughter with him.
all right. Well, I mean, it's, we've just got to have some certain basic information. And, I'm happy to take a look at all of it again. And if we need to revisit the home study, we could maybe try to get some clarification on some of those things and supplement that maybe. But, I guess the main thing, Ms. Sapien, is that he's got to provide us some fundamental information.
And Judge, he did appear one time and he submitted to that home study, but my understanding is that there was that language barrier. And last time you talked to Sierra, she did say that she can effectively communicate with him. So I think the only issue was updating the information to revisit the home study.
Okay. Ms. Cairns, can we get that done?
Yes, I spoke with my supervisor yesterday about it, and we're planning a meeting on it. Whenever I talked to Uncle, he said that he was going to get with, oh my goodness, Mr. Morales and see about helping him get receipts and everything, since he is paid in cash, just to help him along with it, because they do live close and they see each other multiple times weekly. So we can get that done hopefully soon.
Okay. All right. All right, then I sure want to take another look at all that, especially if Sierra feels like she'd be comfortable there and they can communicate fine, and that's great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, what else do we have going on?
Mom has not spoken with me since the last court hearing when we took visits away. She didn't want to do virtual. She's blocked everybody's number that has tried to contact her from St. Francis. And that's about it with her. I haven't spoken to any of the dads, though.
And Ms. Seal?
Your Honor, I would just re-urge my announcement from earlier. The last contact I had with Ms. Sheffield was on December 12th of 23, and my emails have been returned, but no response from any text messages.
All right. Ms. Grant?
Just no contact with him, Your Honor, and no active email addresses or phone numbers that we've been able to locate.
Okay, and Ms. Sapien, anything else?
No, Judge, I'll talk to Mr. Morales today, see where he's at on proof of income, and then make sure that Ms. Carnes is looped in on that.
Okay, great. Okay, Mr. Barfield.
Your Honor, I don't have anything new to report. No witnesses. My client is still continuing not to really make contact with me as well. And so the buzzing sound you hear is a highway patrolling in front of me.
All right. Okay, Ms. Stevens.
Your Honor, I have nothing new to report either.
All right. Mr. Taylor.
I also have nothing new to report. Mr. Rodriguez is not been located, and so I have had no contact with him.
All right, Ms. Mullinex.
Judge, I'd like to ask Ms. Cairns a few questions.
Sure.
Shay, with regard to Sierra, she's been in some trouble recently, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of trouble has she been in?
She has tested positive a few times on the drug screens, which leads to, the trouble at school. We found some more vapes in her room, her and Kaylee's. She had stated she got one of them from Mom, or Kaylee told me, sorry. And then we don't know where the other drugs are coming from.
The one she got from Mom, that's the one we dealt with back in December, right?
That was the THC one. And then I believe we talked about the nicotine vapes as well.
And with regard to Sierra and the testing positive for drugs, has St. Francis gotten her into some counseling or anything like that to help with her issues?
Yeah, she started community service, I believe. You haven't started yet, Sarah?
It's not community service. Which drug class? Like you go every week?
Okay, I apologize. I called it the wrong thing. But she goes weekly for that.
And is that with a counselor that
yes.
has been set up? Okay. And with regard to Maisie, she's working at the mall, is that right?
Yes.
And she's doing very well, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Kaylee's taking part in track and has a tournament coming up, correct?
Yes, she does.
And then Erin is involved in Little Dribblers.
I believe that's the name, yes.
They're all doing very well. The only issues with Sierra, as I'm aware, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that you're working on maybe getting her placed with Dad, so maybe we can alleviate some of those issues as well, right?
Yes, that's what I'm hoping.
And you said that Mom hasn't talked to you and has blocked everybody from St. Francis since her physical visits were taken away, correct?
Yes.
How have the kids' behaviors been since they haven't been physically visiting Mom?
I believe Sierra's is the only one that's changed, but I mean, she was still getting positive drug screens before then as well. I don't believe they've affected the kids negatively at all. At least they haven't spoken to me about that. I apologize.
I don't have any other questions for Ms. Cairns, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Mullinax?
I do think that placement for all the kids is safe and appropriate at this time. I would like to try to kind of expedite Mr. Morales's information so we can fix that home study, because if Sierra needs to be somewhere better where she's not getting into trouble, then hopefully we can look into that and get it done pretty quickly.
Okay. All right, Casa.
Sorry. Yes, Your Honor, the kids are all doing very well. As Ms. Molinax said, they are all involved with things. Maisie is staying incredibly busy. She is working every chance she gets to save money. So I'm super proud of her. As mentioned, Sierra has been in a little bit of trouble, so I've been concerned about her. But I know she has been attending those meetings, and there hasn't been any incidents since she has started them. I know she really does want to go with Dad. I do have a concern about how much she will be, how much freedom she will have, because right now she is, finding ways to get into trouble with very strict restrictions. But hopefully if she's there and she's happy, those won't be the case. But I think where they are at right now is safe and appropriate. And my recommendation is for them to stay where they are.
Okay. All right, Sierra, is there anything you want to talk about today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, how's this kind of this drug class going?
It's going okay.
Okay. I hope you really get something beneficial out of that, because these things are gonna, it's one thing as a juvenile, but this kind of stuff can lead to real problems for you as an adult. And, they can lead to really lifelong problems. So I kind of want you to get a handle on this and take it seriously. I also, if we look at moving you to Dad's, you've got to do your part here and follow the rules, and that kind of stuff's going to make it really hard on your dad, to supervise and care for you and all of that. I would hate for you to get down there and adjusted and be happy there. Then he can't control your behavior. So you got to do your part in all of this, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. And I know you can choose to do it. Okay. All right, then. I will continue the department as tutoring manager and conservator and continue all of the children's current placements. I will make a finding that it would be a continuing and ongoing danger to send any of the children home to mother or to any of the absentee parents at this point in time. I do want to look back to this home study on Mr. Morales and consider that. So as soon as that's done, you know, I'd like to be made aware of that. We are scheduled for a final on April 24th. That's on a 9 o'clock docket. So I'll see back then. If we need to get together before then to discuss Sierra's placement change, that's fine. Y'all just let us know and we can all get together about that. If not necessary to have a hearing, if everybody thinks it's a good move and that it's, you know, a good change for Sierra. So if, you know, if St. Francis is satisfied and if her attorney and CASA are satisfied that that's a good move, then I'm good with it. So just kind of see what happens.
Your Honor, quick question. On April 24th, I am 95% sure I'm actually going to be in trial. Since I have an unknown father that has never had any contact with me and I have no leads on, if we have a court hearing that day, would you be amenable to me just filing a written report updating the court on anything that's happened since then, as long as nothing significant has happened?
My concern is if something should come out in the testimony or evidence at that time, you would not be available to cross-examine or delve into that. Would it maybe be feasible for you to get somebody to just cover that hearing for you?
I will attempt to do that, yes, Your Honor.
I have had that happen. I mean, believe it or not, in final hearings, I've had it happen more than one occasion where somebody drops a bomb and all of a sudden we've got information that we didn't have. I'm looking at Grant because that happened with us not too long ago. So
I'll find someone. It's just the people I normally would ask are all in this hearing right now.
I understand. And, you know, if you need some names, Ms. Katie could probably provide you some names of some people on our other wheels that might be willing to step in for, you know, I understand it's sort of a limited purpose, but that would be my one and only really concern is if somebody drops one of those bombs on us.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, then. I appreciate it, and I'll see everybody back on April 24th. And one other, I think I failed to make a finding that the department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the family. So, okay. Appreciate y'all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yara, you take care, hon. We're here on a review hearing. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties to enable Braden to join us this morning. We are live streaming and I am recording to the Zoom cloud. If anybody needs a copy, just let me know and we'll make it available. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Todd Alvey on behalf of the Texas Family and Protective Services. Mavis Apoku Asante is the St. Francis Ministries Permanency Specialist who will be giving us an update today.
Erin Molinax, attorney ad litem for the child ready, Your Honor.
Okay, and CASA is present with us. All right, then. What do we have new since the court report was filed?
Okay, nothing new. Braden has been doing well, so nothing new.
Okay, good. Things seem to have stabilized with placement and everything?
Yes.
All right. Okay, how's school going for him?
Well, school was going good until the last time that he was caught smoking marijuana on the school bus, and he was suspended for 3 days, and he had to go into DAEP. So he's now in the alternative school.
Okay, and how long will he be there?
Well, we are not sure yet.
Okay. All right, Ms. Molinax.
I've got a couple questions for the worker. Is he, what at that home? There's different levels of placement, correct? That they can be on.
Yes.
And what level is Braden on?
Oh, Braden was. It's on the level where he can make calls to his mom and his brother. He doesn't have any restrictions anymore.
All right. And so other than being in DAEP, he's doing okay at the home?
Yes. I think last week he had a fight with one of the 14-year-old boys. And I think, living together, there's bound to be conflict. So I don't see that as a major issue.
And did he actually get moved to a different house that's not the same house as that 14-year-old, or do you know?
No, I'm not sure yet.
Okay. And he's done better in this home since he's been placed there than he has in recent placements. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so would it be sufficient to say that this has been a good placement for him so far?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor, and I believe his placement is safe and appropriate at this time.
Okay. All right. And Casa?
Yeah, everything has been good. I've spoken with placement. I've spoken with his counselor. Everything I've heard so far from everybody is that, especially recently, Braden's been doing really well with everything. He's adjusting well. Things are going well. I haven't been able to get a hold of the school yet to chat with them on things, but everything that I've been told, things are going really well. So it sounds like he's in a good place and making good choices.
All right, great. Okay, Braden, can you unmute for me? Okay, anything you want to talk about today?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. Do you know when you're going to be out of DAEP?
I get out this Thursday.
Okay. All right. Is marijuana something you got a problem with?
Not anymore, no.
Okay. Well, you know, it's illegal in Texas. It's just going to get you in trouble. So can you stay away from it?
Yes, ma'am, okay.
Okay. Did you get it from anybody that's there at placement?
Don't know.
Was that no? Okay.
Yes, that was a no, yes.
Okay. Well, better for you if you just stay away from it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, then. I will continue Braden's placement, and I'll continue the department as permanent managing conservator. And I'm glad you've settled in there, Braden. That's good. So hopefully that will continue to be the case, and that this will be a good spot for you to stay in. All right, we will have our next review hearing on April 24th of 2024, and that'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. I'd kind of like to stay on that 90-day track for a while till we make sure we're kind of all settled. Okay. Well, quick question. Are we making any headway maybe on driver's license?
No, yesterday I called the PAL coordinator, and he told me that since he's in an ITC, he'll check into it and let me know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if it's feasible for him to start working on that, I'd really like for him to. Braden, you want to get a driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I really want you to do that. So let's see what we can figure out. Okay. All right, then I'll see y'all back April 24th. Thank y'all.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Braden. You take care.
Gotcha. Bye.
I'm so glad he stabilized.
Hope it'll last. Yeah.
Yeah. I know he's been talking to his brother, so I think that's helped.
Yeah. The fact that he's not running is good.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, when we visited him the beginning of the month and in placement, and I'm so impressed with that placement. They are so good. Everybody there, I really have a good feeling about this placement.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, they were great.
Love to hear that on a review hearing, and we're conducting this through Zoom under finding good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming, and I'm recording to the Zoom cloud. If you need a copy, let me know and we'll make it available. Okay, we'll take announcements.
Todd Albee on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Present, ready to proceed, Your Honor. Shay Grant is the St. Francis Ministries Permanency Specialist who will be giving us an update today.
Aaron Mullenix, attorney ad litem for the child, ready, Your Honor.
Okay. And Casa is present with us. Okay, so I, of course, read the report, and we'll see what's new, but I want to ask a question. Being mindful that we are on YouTube, I read that we had a 30-day discharge. And Ms. Grant, can you tell me the reason for that, unless we're going to be touching on some delicate area?
So the foster mom that Savannah was placed with did put in a discharge. Just she felt like Savannah wasn't making much progress in the home since she's a therapeutic home, as far as things like hygiene, getting up on time for school, not keeping her room clean, things like that, not being able to really follow directions. And so that's the reason that she put in the discharge.
Okay. And has a change of placement occurred yet?
Yes, on Monday the 22nd.
So where's placement now?
Amarillo Children's Home.
Okay. All right. And that's, 2 days, so can't really determine whether she's settled in yet in 2 days. How are things going so far?
So far, so good. I was able to see Savannah yesterday. She did go to school, and she said, so far, things are good.
Okay. All right. Any other issues that we've had since our last hearing?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Ms. Molinax.
Your Honor, obviously it's only been a couple days, but I would say her placement is safe and appropriate. She did request that she be able to have contact of some sort with that foster parent. Her name is Princess. I don't know if that foster parent wants that to happen or if that's recommended by CASA or not, because I think there were some issues communicating with Princess, but she did say she wanted to continue to have contact with her.
Okay. Anybody know the answer to that?
Yes. Foster mom would like to maintain contact with Princess. She even said she would like to be able to send her packages, letters, things like that if she needs anything.
Okay, so she's on board with it. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously, I think that's great. Then, she's 15. The more people and mentors and go-tos she has, the better. Okay, CASA?
I think Savannah keeping contact with Princess would be good. I do think, just from Savannah's previous placement before, where she was at before Princess, the growth from there to Princess to now has been, a lot. I do feel like she's opened up a lot more with us. She's definitely, she acted like she loved Lubbock and was seemed to be more positive than she was negative. So I do think that keeping contact with Princess would be really good, to keep a good role model in her life, somebody that she was able to connect with. I am going to go see her on Saturday, so I'll be able to kind of touch base with everybody after giving her a couple more days to get settled in her new placement.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anybody have anything else? All right. Then I will continue the department as permanent managing conservator, and I will continue her current placement. And we will have another review hearing June 26th of 2024. That's on a 9:00 docket. Unless we need to get together before that. And so she's 15. Maybe let's kind of get her settled in, and then Ms. Molinax at some point, maybe we, might bring her in and have a little conference with her. We can either meet over there, do it in person, or whatever seems to work best for everybody. It might be probably easier for CASA if we do it by Zoom. But anyway, I'd like to visit with her sometime before that next hearing. But let's give her a chance to get settled in. Okay. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. And that concludes our children's county docket. So thank y'all, and everybody have a good rest of your day.